below the number 5.
I have to speak up. I'm wearing it home.
Marvin, you're naked.
Stop looking at me, Swan.
You have until the count of 5.
Here we are. My name is Max.
Now he sounds happy.
Oh, I'm fucking miserable inside, Jesse.
This is the Got Till 5 podcast. Max has been having a little tantrum before we came on air because he couldn't get the lighting right.
That's right, everyone. I'm a prima donna on a podcast.
It was like, I just doesn't, my lighting isn't right. And I look like my skin looks terrible. And I'm going to lose my shit. He was very upset. And he's annoyed because I came on camera and we're both almost wearing like twinsy shirts. So that annoyed you. You were like, I'm going to take my shirt off.
Slowly throughout the show. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. This is not a good way to start because this is episode 99.
But a bit change one. Yeah.
This is our penultimate.
One off our final ever episode of Got Till 5 before we take a little break.
Which is emotional. Heart-wrenching,
Is
I'd
it?
say. Nah,
Yeah.
I'm ready for this shit to be done. God bless them.
We've done a lot of top 5s. Well, 99 of them. I think technically 100 of them because there was one sort of mystery episode where the recording mucked up. So we've actually done 100 episodes, but only 99 have been released.
101 because there was the episode we did on Beyond the Mat, which got taken down for copyright reasons.
Ah, okay. So this is kind of our 100th episode.
And then we've done a whole bunch of bonus guest spot top 5. So we're probably in the 200s at this point.
Oh God, it's been so much. I've talked to you. We've been best friends since we were like 13 years old. And so it concerns me, to be honest, that we've been doing this for what, 2 years? Something like that?
Over 3.5 years.
Fucking hell. Okay, 3.5 years. But still, there's hours and hours and hours on, I'm holding my phone because it's on Spotify for me, but you know, wherever you listen to your podcasts, hours and hours of us just talking to each other. And that's only a microcosm of like our friendship. Do you know what I mean? Like all that talk that we would have done as teenagers and through most of our 20s was never recorded. And it was all gold like this.
What a waste. What a waste. And fuck you, Steve. You know I'm in a bad mood and you're coming here like, oh, Jesse's done 99 because Max was in
true.
surgery.
Yeah, I've done more Got Till 5 episodes than you because Steve stepped in as my wonderful co-host when you couldn't make it because you're a big baby girl.
I was getting cut open, guys.
You were having surgery on your collarbone, weren't you?
Bastards. We need to acknowledge why, from this angle, just a muscly up man, you can't even tell who it is. Stone Cold is standing behind you right now.
Stone Cold, well, I thought I'd invite him. That's the 99th episode, special occasion.
Yeah, very, very wise choice. With the flat cap as well.
Yeah, I put the flat cap on him. It's amazing how just the addition of a flat cap turned Stone Cold from, like, the Texas Rattlesnake, toughest SOB, to a gay biker stripper boy.
And I love that you've kept the hat on him.
I like it. I like having a gay stripper in the house. Like, what's wrong with that?
Adds a little bit of warmth to the place. So this episode, everyone, this
is weird.
This is so weird. Like,
I'm into it though.
We've gone very arrogant with this episode, where we are literally just going to click a random generator.
And yeah, but like we're like, this is going to be gold because we're really good, and all that's going to happen is it's going to happen, and we're just going to be like. Just give me a minute. Just let me just think. That's going to be half the episode.
Well, we're live, so that's challenge number 1. We don't know what's going to come up on the generator. That's challenge number 2. And
we're both very tired. That's challenge number 3.
Challenge 3, we're both very tired. So
I've got my gym jams on underneath it.
Pretty boy. Well, I've got the wine on the go, so I'm hoping something happens.
Lovely. I haven't had a drink for nearly a week.
It's not an accomplishment, mate. That's just normal.
It is for me. I haven't had a drink for 3 hours. Yeah. No, I haven't had a drink. That's not like because I'm the sort of person that goes to the pub after work regularly, and I haven't done that for nearly a week, which is good for me. I'm drinking coffee.
So Steve thinks this is all a work, that we've planned this, that we're going to know what a random generator is going to throw
Oh
us.
God! If you think this is a work, Steve,
You do not know us.
when you see the shoddy quality of this podcast, you will see, oh no, if they plan that, it's almost like Andy Kaufman in its avant-garde shitness. Do you know what I mean?
It's going to be our finest hour. So, yeah, do you want to... Because we're going to do a couple of these, by the way, everyone. We've got, I think, 28 choices of what could come up on today's episode. We're going to do a couple of them.
How many each are we doing?
Well, I thought we can... as we normally do, we'll double team them just to make life a little bit easier on ourselves instead of someone going 5 and 5. And we'll aim for 5. We'll aim for 5 topics, and that's maths 25. I don't know.
And we're both gonna and we're both gonna pick one from that topic each.
Well, we're gonna try and do a top 5 like we normally do. So we'll just hope for the best, Jesse. Just hope.
Okay, I'll speak when I'm spoken to.
Good choice. All right, let's get the wheel of doom up and see what's going to come up for our number 1 picture. Like the coloring, nice little.
I do sort of.
Wait.
I mean, I know orange and white is our branding. I'm not sure where the brown and black has come from.
It just pulled it from the image. I added audio to it, and I realized there was no audio attached to it, and I just can't be having more disappointments today, Jesse. Just can't be having it. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, the first top 5 topic of today is going to be... Top 5 role models. Oh, Jesus.
You've put so much work into this. Why have you put so much work into this?
Why not? Why not, Jesse? Okay.
I enjoyed the mariachi.
I didn't know she spoke. That was kind of terrifying. Okay.
I didn't hear anyone speak. Maybe that was only on your end. I don't know if it will come through the recording.
Oh God, I hope someone spoke.
Did everyone else hear that?
Please put it in the comments if you did.
Go kill children. That's what she said.
So a lot of these are kind of ones that me and Jesse have wanted to do in the past. We've had a couple of suggestions from people on the Twitterverse. I think this is one of them because it's a bit shit. And a couple just from like dear friends who have put their names in the hat. So role models, do you have any?
Any role models? So what am I doing? Just picking one now, and we're going to talk about it like we normally do. Yeah.
Yep. We're going to spend 5 minutes on this. 5 minutes.
Oddly, off the top of my head just then, and I wasn't expecting this, but when I saw that, like, I almost want to be cool and say like, well, Travis Barker, man, or like Bill Stevenson, we had him on the show. He's my favorite drummer from my favorite band. But for some reason, as soon as that came up, the first name that appeared in my head was Ewan McGregor.
Interesting.
Why is that? Yeah.
Why is that?
That was a knee-jerk reaction. It was like, oh, Ewan McGregor. And I don't know why. I think because like he's a phenomenal actor, first off. You cannot name many Ewan McGregor films. And even the Duff films, you have to say that he put in the best performance he possibly could. On top of that, he's a fantastic musician, which he doesn't actually go on about all that much, but he is. He's a very good guitarist and singer.
I didn't even know that. Didn't even know that.
There you go. He rides a little motorbike, which is nice, and has done some amazing TV shows on that. And he just seems like the nicest man in the world. It was actually long way down, up, round his TV shows that he did with his mate, Charlie Borman. That is what made me go, you are the nicest man in the world, because this is a international Hollywood celebrity. And it's weird when you sort of talk about famous people. You go, oh, but he's so nice. And it's like, yeah, why the fuck shouldn't he be? But like sometimes they go above and beyond. And you think this guy, like everywhere he goes, people are going, oh, Obi-Wan Kenobi. And he's just so cool with it and just nice to everyone and so chill. And I just think everyone should be more like Ewan McGregor. He's just the nicest dude in the world. He's a consummate professional. He's really good at his job without being arrogant about it. Just a dude, just a really, really nice guy, I think. That's what we all should strive to be.
Well, you're gonna love later because if it comes up in the list is top 5 Ewan McGregor films. So who knows? Maybe we'll get more Ewan later. Live shows? What? Who knows what's going on? For me, I would have to jump in with Adam Carolla. He's a dick. Like I think he's strayed very far from the path of what I was into growing up. But Adam Carolla was the whole reason that this is happening. Listening to him age 14 on Loveline and all of those kind of shows, he was the first kind of proper radio voice I heard. And to a 14-year-old, he's very funny. As you get older, you go, you've got some very backwards views there, Carolla. But
and who introduced you to Adam Carolla?
Jesse Benz, while we were listening to a Linkin Park live.
Does that by proxy make me your idol?
What? No, it doesn't. This means we're very linked, my friend.
I think it does. I think it does.
So listening to him, and that's the reason I went to university and I got into radio production, journalism, and then I went on to radio shows and then into podcasting and now doing the job I do now for a living. Really boils down to that one night in Center Parcs with you. One night.
One night in Center Parcs. One night in paradise. I took my family, my mum and my stepdad and me went to Center Parcs. I was allowed to take a little friend and I chose Max. And we went there and we just stayed up listening to Loveline and it was lovely. We like the main things about Center Parcs are bicycling and swimming. I can't swim and I wasn't that confident on a bicycle back then. So what could you do? We just sat in. I remember actually that was when, because you were staying with me, I had like long emo hair at the time and I straightened it because my hair was very naturally curly and obviously you don't want people to know that, but Max had to know that because I had to look good on my weekend in Center Parcs. So I just remember like taking you to one side and I was like, if you ever tell anyone I straightened my hair, I will cut you. You
word for word, everyone. He's not exaggerating. He's not exaggerating. It was word for word. Glorious times. And because of that weekend, I'm now in the position that I am, doing 99 episodes over 3.5 years with you.
You love it. But yeah, Adam Carolla is great. A sort of lazy comparison to Brits who don't know who he is. He's kind of the Jeremy Clarkson of America in many ways, like just sort of outspoken, but fun, like a bit of a knob, but funny with it. Do you know what I mean? And his and then his morning radio shows were fantastic. Yeah, he's a very good talk show host. Americans do talk radio in a way that the English have never managed.
No, can't even touch. Number 3 for you.
Oh shit, we're going like properly through. Okay, so I'm still confused by the concept. Next one. I will go for Bill Stevenson, just because we did have him on the show, bit of a cheap plug. He's the drummer of the Descendants, who are a band that this is actually a Descendants shirt that arrived today. I bought this last week from America and it arrived today. That's amazing.
I'm wearing a Descendants-esque CM.
You are?
I bought this 2 months ago. And it showed up last week.
It's crazy. Like my work, because of Brexit and all that, like it's impossible to get stuff from Europe right now. But America, they'll just chuck you something straight away. This shirt anyway. Maybe Bill put a word in. But I love Descendants. They're my favorite band in the world. I am a drummer. I enjoy drumming. Bill Stevenson, to me, is one of the purest, greatest drummers and songwriters. His work ethic has been off the scale his entire career. He runs a studio. He's recorded some amazing bands. He just doesn't stop working. He's also played in Black Flag and All and the Lemonheads, all sorts of bands. Only Crime, they're very good. Just self-taught drummer, just natural musician, total savant. Which is awesome. Sort of the same as Ewan McGregor in many ways, just really good at your job without being arrogant about it. Ewan McGregor and Bill Stevenson, like two peas in a pod.
I feel like Ewan McGregor's going to be like a constant comparison. No matter what comes up, you're going to be like, well, as Ewan McGregor would do.
I just love that man.
Great shout. For me, very simple. Let's keep it simple. Everyone knows we're starting easy with this one. Edge. Edge is my whole influence of wrestling and my love of Canadian mountain men and just being a good dude. He's another one like Ewan McGregor. He's the good dude. He's the Ewan McGregor of the wrestling world, where everyone's like Edge, and he's always just like there. And you want to take a bike trip with him.
Wasn't it just so wholesome of him when he shagged Lita behind Matt Hardy's back? Like what a stand-up dude.
Yeah, but he got over that when he met me and he said, "I like your t-shirt." So like, come on, Jesse, checks and balances.
There you go. Yeah, nice.
So absolute angel. Of course, you were waiting for Edge. Everyone was. He's the best thing Canada has ever produced, and I think in this list there is a top 5 Canadians, which was suggested by Steve. And guess who's going to be in the fucking list?
Yeah, we can. I suppose we can do crossovers in this, can't we? If another one pops up that is relevant. I was very tempted to go with that man, Steve.
For you audio listeners on that comment.
He's here and he's very mad. But no, for my final, this is my final choice on role models. Yep. Is that right? But yeah, before we move on, okay, I'm going to go for James Bond.
All right.
Who? I mean, you didn't specify fictional or not.
I didn't.
And I just, who in their heart of hearts wouldn't want to be James Bond? You might not like him, but if you could be him, you would be him, right? I'm talking specifically the Sean Connery James Bond, back when sexism was all right. And like, he just, Goldfinger, right? I was watching it the other day, and when Felix turns up to Miami and finds Bond, he's getting a massage from a girl, and he just goes, "Oh, well, I can't remember the girl's name. Pip, let's say. Oh, Pip, say hello to Felix. Hi, Felix, say hello to Pip. Hi, Pip, say goodbye to Felix." She goes, "What?" And he goes, "Oh, man stuff. See you later." And as she walks off, he just slaps her on the ass. And that's it. That's her whole part in that film. She doesn't come back. That's brilliant. I want people in my life like that.
You can't have them in your life like that, Jesse. That's not allowed.
Well, no, not anymore. But in the 60s, when you were James Bond as Sean Connery, it was. So that's my role model.
Jesse's influence over viewers just dropped like a stone just down. Fucking hell.
Yeah, he's even on my phone wallpaper right now.
They'll come back for the next top 5. We'll be fine. They'll come back. Yes,
sexism is not okay.
Jesse's influence at the moment has been Hitman and James Bond movies. So, and Ewan McGregor. So prepare for a lot of similar themes throughout this show as we kind of go on. Okay, just to kind of wrap up on my one. Weirdly, I thought about Fat Mike.
Okay.
Because, and this is why, he has made terrible life decisions. He's an alcoholic. Yeah. He's had very strong drug problems. Not problems. He manages them quite well. Don't want to make him out like an addict, but, you know, as it is. But what a business mind. What a genius, like, just how he approaches life of just, I'm going to have my own record. I'm going to stick to my beliefs. I'm going to do what I love. I'm going to stick to what I love. And I'm just going to be true to myself. And I feel like Fat Mike... With what?
Erin, his ex-wife, like they were a very equal partnership with all that label stuff. It wasn't all Fat Mike. He's just the famous one. They both worked very hard together. Yes,
but Jesse, come on. You were just talking about sexism. Like, you can't fly the flip on the other side.
I'm trying to bring it back, all right? I'm trying.
Erin did a great job as well, but I'm talking specifically about how Fat Mike ran his element of it and how he is as a person with, like, I like dressing in women's clothes. Doesn't mean anything. Just find it comfortable. And it's just that kind of like, I want to release albums on this, and I like this band, I'll put them on. And now he's sober and all this kind of stuff. It seems like a good dad, dominatrix stuff. It's all good shit.
It's all good shit. He's released a couple of Descendants albums, so he's all right in my book.
Exactly. So I think that was quite an easy one to start off with. I feel warmed up.
We're naturals. There's probably tough ones in there, though.
Yeah, that was a good warm-up, though. That was a good warm-up. By the way, people viewing, if you have any in the comments that you want to just kind of chuck at us, feel free. We're old hat at this now. We can
quick fire them maybe at the end.
Yeah,
if they throw any in the comments.
We'll quick fire them at the end for you. Okay. Fucking hell, I'm not going to put that comment up. So, should we do another?
Give me the gist.
No. Should we do another spin of the wheel?
Yes.
Okie dokie. Oh, I didn't remove that one. I should have removed it. Oh well.
Oh! Top 5 skateboarders of all time.
I think this can be a quick fire one, can't it?
Yeah, we could fire through this one. Do you want to go first this time?
Yes. let's start off strong. Let's go a bit of actually. I'm gonna put it for the people viewing because like people who missed the like spinny thing, they might miss what the actual topic is. So top 5 skateboarders of all time. Everyone who's just joined, hello, welcome to the show. Let's start strong with Bob Burnquist.
Nice, very talented vert skateboarder.
Gonna work my way down. Bob Burnquist, incredible skateboarder on the old Tony Hawk's games. He would be my kind of main pick of what I would go for. And yeah, as you say, great vert skater, great tricks that he's kind of brought to the table, and is your most stereotypical looking skater you can imagine.
He's the first skateboarder I ever saw wearing glasses, like proper specs while he skated, and I thought that was cool.
Stick with us, Ninterd. If you don't know who
He's
Tony
a
Hawk
quick
is,
fire. Don't worry, we'll be through the skateboarders before you know it.
Patience. For you, Mr. Benz.
I'll start with Jamie Thomas because he founded Zero, which is my favorite skateboard brand of all time. He's a very good sort of street skater. To this day, if you follow his Instagram and stuff, he must be, it is like mid-40s now, I'm guessing, like maybe even approaching 50. And the dude can still tear it up. He's amazing. He runs an amazing company in Zero. And again, like businessman, like we were just talking about Fat Mike and things like that, like just started this thing. He was he always knew he was never going to be the greatest skateboarder in the world. So what he did is he founded this company and kept himself on the map and made himself a legend in the business that way, which I really respect.
Yeah, 100% agree. And as you say, one of your favorite brands, and you got him all tattooed up on your arm. Not him specifically. That'll be weird. Yeah. But you got a skateboard.
A Zero skateboard on my arm.
Beautiful. I'll go a little bit more modern this time. I always talk about it, but Letitia Buffoni, the Brazilian skateboarder, who
Bob Burnquist is Brazilian as well. Did you know that? So you've gone for 2 Brazilians. There you go.
I love me some Brazilians. But she is a multi-gold winner at the X Games, sponsored by Red Bull. Her, like, if you follow her on Instagram, she's got this great kind of like ramp setup outside in her back garden. And it's just living one of those lives that just makes you go, fuck off.
Yeah. I'd love that. Just a ramp in your back garden where no one can see you.
To a pool, so she can like ride on and go into a pool and all that, and just living the best life off the back of skateboard money. Like, she's not like the rest of them where she's just doing it all. Like, she does it a lot, but it's not like everything. She's just enjoying life off the back of X Games money. And who would have thought that, like, the amount of money you can make from X Games and shit?
Oh god, yeah. It's ridiculous. It's that and the sort of the sponsorships and stuff as well. Darby Allin.
Steve's is Darby Allin. Nintendo is going for Goofy and Disney Sports Skateboarding. Hey,
strong. That's very
can't
strong.
argue. Can't argue.
Yeah. Spyro the Dragon as well is one for me. He has a few skateboarding levels in Spyro 2 or 3. Can't remember, but they're very fun. My next proper choice would be Mike Vallely, who I think he's been around for a long time. He's been like skating since the 80s. The dude just does his own thing, and I think it's awesome. He just makes up his own tricks. He's all about the like handstands and putting your hands on the floor and grabbing the board, stuff that isn't competition legal at all. But he's made a name for himself by just doing that stuff because he loves it, and I love that. Just got his own style. Some people think it's clunky or like not, true to skateboarding. I think he's a pioneer, and it makes skating accessible to everyone, because if you can't do the posh shit, odds are you can do some Mike Vallely shit, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And he seems like a top dude as well.
And his style is sick. Like, I remember us watching those YouTube videos, and the stuff he can kind of create and do is just like mind-boggling.
Yeah.
How many have we done now? Is that 4?
We got 1 more each.
Okay. Okay, I think I know who you're going to pick, so I'm going to say let's just go for the OG, Tony Hawk. I like Birdhouse boards a lot. I think
you have one, don't you?
I do have a Birdhouse board. He makes skating accessible for everyone, and he is the poster child of skateboarding. And there's a reason he is, because he is that damn good at what he does, and he innovated a lot of what we see in the space, and he just has... I also like that he is another one of these Ewan McGregor types who is very calm in what he brings to the table. Like, everyone's like, hey, Tony Hawk. And he's like, yep, Tony Hawk. Or people go, "Are you Tony Hawk?" And he'll go, "Yeah." And they're like, you get out of here. That's Tony Hawk.
It's because he's such a normal looking dude, right? Like,
Yeah.
you see him, and he's
And
just
the
so
name as well.
ordinary looking. Yeah, Anthony
Hawk. And I just love that he made skateboarding accessible for like kids, and he promoted having headgear and safety, and like he wasn't like, I'm just a cool dude, man. Like Tony Hawk is just a lovely person.
Yeah, and the Tony Hawk video games are the reason why we're all in love with skateboarding. If we're honest,
Exactly.
With ourselves. That was our first.
Yeah, we can't deny it. It's always easy to be like, oh, I'm not going to pick the popular one as like the choice, but there's a reason Tony Hawk is the face of skateboarding. He's the reason all of us are into it as we are now.
Exactly.
No arguing with me.
What?
No arguing.
No arguing.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing here. Not arguing. Speak what I've spoken to. That's what I'm doing today.
Good lad.
My number one will be Rodney Mullen, who is the OGest of the OG. Yeah, of course, Rodney Mullen. Rodney Mullen, for the uninitiated, is the Jimi Hendrix of skateboarding. There is no one better. I mean, not like he doesn't do ramps or anything, but as far as like street skating and flat ground, there is no one that could even touch him. He's been going forever. He's been going since the 80s as well. He invented the ollie, like that, when you pop the board and jump in the air. Every modern trick is based around that, and he invented it. That's insane. He basically did loads of flat ground sort of stuff, flipping the board around like under his feet. Suddenly that became not like street skating became the trendy thing in the early 90s. And he was like, oh, okay, I guess I'll just learn how to street skate then. And then within like a day, he's just like the best street skater as well. And it's just ridiculous. And he's such a savant. You watch him interview and like he just thinks in skateboards. There's nothing else that he does with his life, nothing else he's interested in. No one can touch. Just YouTube him if you haven't seen him. Anyone listening? Rodney Mullen.
I was about to say that's the best way to understand exactly what we're talking about. What's that?
It's like watching the best dancer you've ever seen on a skateboard, right? Or like a gymnast. It's incredible.
What's that channel that we were watching? There's this guy who tries to recreate Rodney Mullen's like signature tricks and stuff that he made. I think, and he just goes, "It's impossible. It's not doable."
Yeah, Johnny Geiger or something like. I think it's Johnny Geiger. I follow him on Instagram. Cromie introduced him to me actually. And he just takes famous spots from people like Rodney Mullen and tries to recreate them. And this guy is a really good skateboarder, and the Rodney Mullen stuff, he just couldn't go near. He was like, he only managed it after a hell of a lot of manipulating, of like waxing up the ramps and things like that, which Rodney Mullen wouldn't have done.
There we go. Top 5 skateboarders done. Next.
Done. God, we're smashing this.
It's not even a challenge. I hope this next one gives us. Actually, I don't want to say that because it will, and I'll be like,
no, I don't want to. It really hard.
We just want to look good in front of the people. Okay, let's see what we can bring up for next one. Fuck off. All right, let's hope
you're gonna find this easier than me, I think.
Okay, this is fucking random, isn't it? Okay, so we gotta pick. Let's do this one very quickly.
Okay, top 5 Canadians.
Just gonna wait for Steve to get all excited in the chat to see what he can. Who's it gonna be? Okay. Oh, there's a comment. I wonder who it is. It's not you, Steve. It's not you. It's never going to be you. I'll go first. All of these are going to be very wrestling based, by the way, everyone. I think that's fair to say. But
I know more Canadian wrestlers than anything else, I think. Oh no, I thought of one that isn't a wrestler. Go on.
Okay, let's start with a wrestler, and then I'll go non-wrestler, then obviously finish with a wrestler. Bret Hart, the greatest technical wrestler, the greatest wrestler to ever lace a pair of boots. Oh, Steve's just going to be like fuming in the comments. Shawn Michaels is shit. But yeah, Bret Hart was the kind of introduction, him and Shawn obviously, but I feel like Bret was the actual talent who pushed it forward to kind of have that smaller guy in the main event scene that we've spoken about in the past, where it's like you had your big Andre the Giants and Hulk Hogan's, and then you had like little Bret Hart, who wasn't little, he was like 230 pounds or something.
Yeah, he's like 6'2", was it? Like he's not a small
yeah, he was like, it was a big dude. But he was classed as a smaller dude and the guy that was never getting to the world title spot. And when they were doing that transition, he was the first person. So it was like when the Vaders were leaving and the Diesels and all that kind of stuff, and they weren't ready to put titles on him, Brett was the one they did, and he carried it for a long time. And whenever they kind of needed that safe champion, Brett was the guy. And the guy has got, you know, strong morals towards a lot of stuff within wrestling and how things should be done, and he's very opinionated in how things should be. But I think when you have the moniker of the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be, you're justified in kind of doing it. And the dude's had a hard fucking life, like ridiculous. Losing like brothers and family members, tragedy left, right, and center, his career, like everything imaginable could have happened to it. So we got a late comment on the skateboarding.
Oh, Aaron Hamoki. Yeah, that's a very, very good choice. Bayabo 1.
Nailed it, Jesse. Yeah, I completely forgot about Aaron. So excellent choice. And Pro Skater 5. You liked Pro Skater 5, didn't you?
No, I did not.
No.
Don't try me with that brush. It was a terrible, terrible game.
Okay. Oh, I haven't put the thing up. So yeah, Bret Hart for me for number 5, Canadian.
Very nice. I'm going to go in heavy with Jim Carrey. So
good.
Jim Carrey, Canadian man, very the films of our childhood, right? We're the perfect age for, like, you know, Ace Ventura, The Mask, Dumb and Dumber, Liar Liar, all these incredible 90s films that he did that were just stunning. He the way that man can contort his body and his face is like, no one can compete with that, because if they could, other people would have done it, and no one has. He's just incredible. He's made average films incredibly funny. He's proved that he's got some serious acting chops, like in I Love You, Philip Morris, with Ewan McGregor. And he's done
one for every single one.
He's done other serious films as well. Great actor. He was a really good stand-up comedian before he was an actor. You can find some sets from the early days of Jim Carrey if you search that on YouTube as well. And he just gave it all up, because he was like, no, I want to be a Hollywood actor. I want to be a big star. And he was like one of the hottest things on the stand-up circuit, and just packed it in because he wanted to do that. Got his job on In Living Color, which was a sort of sketch show in America. And he got a job on that and just went mad from there. He's a bit insane nowadays. I think he's gone a bit properly mad. But that's okay. I think he deserves. If anyone's allowed to be properly mad, it's Jim Carrey. He's a good dude. He's brought me a lot of joy in my life.
Yeah, and I think I wouldn't even say that he's a little bit mad anymore. Like, obviously he had that period, but I do feel that was kind of like a press influence. And now he seems pretty balanced again. I mean, love of his life kind of offed herself. I'd go a bit mental as well. Or like that kind of thing. So yeah, Jim Carrey, fully support. Sticking with the Canadian actor category, I'm going to say Michael J. Fox.
I did not know he was Canadian.
Edmonton, if I'm correct. Steve will correct me if I'm incorrect. But Michael J. Fox is a little treasure, and he's little. He's like this big, and he's very cute. And people will know him from... Oh, fucking hell, there's a comment already. If he's not Canadian, I give up. Okay, fine. Steve jumped in with Seth Rogen. Every Canadian male's idol.
Yeah, especially the stoners.
Which is every Canadian male.
Okay, yeah, fine. Hey, I'm wearing... Oh, you've taken yours off. But look, we got plaid on as well. We're repping... That's a Canadian thing, right?
Yeah, that's what they wear.
They like plaid.
Yeah, that's what they do. Yes, Steve, you are an encyclopedia of Canada. That's all you ever bang on about. Our first ever episode with Steve was top 5 Canadian wrestlers versus British wrestlers. So
it was.
Yeah, it says a lot. But anyway, Michael J. Fox, star of the great movies such as Teen Wolf, Back to the Future, the TV show Spin City, and obviously later in life he was diagnosed with Parkinson's. But that didn't really stop him from acting. He made like guest appearances in a lot of shows and a lot of movies. I think now he's maybe stopped the acting so much, but his foundation, the Michael J. Fox Foundation for Parkinson's research, has raised more money than any other kind of Parkinson's charity, I believe. Don't quote me on that. We're talking off the top of our heads. And
And he looks like a slightly older version of Deck from Ant and Dec, which I've always enjoyed.
Yeah, it's a very enjoyable fact. I think even now in his like 60s or late 50s, whatever he is, he still looks good.
He looks damn
dude,
good.
Michael J. Fox. Yeah. And he's an 80s treasure. And I appreciate 80s. So yeah. Bring me more Michael J. Fox. I wish him the best in his future, and I hope his foundation brings a cure to that terrible disease. What a treasure.
There you go. Yeah. It's one thing to be diagnosed with something terrible like that, but to not let it beat you and just go, right, fuck it. Let's do not only fight it, but help the world fight it. Like, that's pretty hardcore.
Yeah. Pretty top dollar. Top dollar, son.
Top dollar.
Yours. Oh my god, Steve is in the comments right now, just listing Canadians.
Yeah, of course he is, just spaffing all over the comment section with Canadians. Right, I'm going to go slightly niche with this one. I'll keep it quick. I'm going with Jamie Benn, who is the captain of the hockey team, the Dallas Stars. Now, Jamie Benn, captain of my favorite hockey team, true Canadian treasure. Loves his team. He's sort of a one-team guy. Works hard for them. His name is very similar to mine. My surname is Benz, so I've got an extra S on him, so I can buy his jerseys and just like duct tape an S on the back, and I've got my own personalized jersey. That's awesome, and I love him for that.
That's your sole reason. Just you can buy a jersey and duct tape an S on it.
Do you know how expensive it is to normally get your name on the back of a jersey? It costs fucking loads. I just get to duct tape an S.
Fucking hell. Should I just quick fire all of these comments that we're getting? Jesus Christ. Ryan Reynolds, Pamela Anderson, Celine Dion, Brian Adams. I'm actually going to save that one because I'm agreeing with the person who's put it. What about Trish Stratus, Canadian treasure? Of course, we love her. I was going to go Edge, but I've already spoken about Edge, so I'm going to agree with Beobu1 over here with Ryan Gosling.
Okay, nice.
What a unique talent of an actor that Ryan Gosling is. He's going to be my pick for this one because he is very versatile. Like, he's a pretty guy. He's gorgeous. We can all everyone just get over it, okay? He's a pretty man. But what he does is he can do serious movies, like one of my favorite movies, Place Beyond the Pines. And then he can be this comedic actor in stuff like Crazy Stupid Love. And then he can be your typical rom-com romance in the bullshit that is The Notebook, which is a terrible movie, and people need to stop praising it as a romantic movie. It's basically an abusive relationship.
Do people still praise it nowadays?
Yes. And I don't understand why. It's not good. But yeah, for me, Ryan Gosling, he has those kind of chops. A great singer-songwriter as well. His band,
Like Ewan McGregor.
Like Ewan McGregor. Is it Dead Man's Bones? He released an album, and incredible. Absolutely incredible album that he put out. Married to Eva Mendes. I mean, if anyone can live life better, I don't want to know it, because I feel like Ryan Gosling has achieved everything anyone would ever want.
That's very true. That's a good shout.
Ryan Reynolds is a close second. You got some good Ryans up there, Canada. You got some good Ryans.
Some good Canadians out there. People that I didn't know were Canadian either. They hide it well.
Yeah. Good. Well, they have to. They must protect the well.
Well, my final choice on this one will be, I'll go wrestling related for this one. It's not who you think I'm going to say. I'm actually going to go with Kevin Owens, because I really like people who I could have gone Sami Zayn as well. Let's like tie it with Sami and Kevin, because I really like people who succeed in an industry that they shouldn't succeed in, if that makes sense. Like, I really like ugly pop stars, for example. It's like, they just got there on raw talent. They didn't get there because someone went, we put them on telly and people will want to fuck that person, so we're going to make lots of money. That's not how, like, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, they're not bodybuilder types. They're not your typical wrestlers at all in the way they look. They just are really fucking good at it. And they were good at it for shit money on indie shows in front of 10 people for years, like 15 years doing that. And they never gave up. They worked their tits off. And now it's worked out for them, and they're millionaires working for the WWE, which is fantastic. And it's just, they worked hard, they were really good at their jobs, and they never gave up, which I love that shit.
Steve says it doesn't count because they're French-Canadian. And you know what, Steve? I'm sick of this divide between you and the Quebecers. Like, come on, man. If you want them to leave Canada, this kind of relationship's not happening. They will leave you guys.
Just focus on hating the Americans. Don't have a civil war within yourself. You all need to team up and hate everyone else.
Or pick on the Newfies because they're like off land, so you can just kind of push them away a little bit. So it like makes life a little bit easier.
Oh yeah,
Montreal,
that's cool.
Quebec, you're kind of stuck in the middle with them, aren't you? So
yeah.
Okay. Top 5 Canadians. Who knew we could pull that one out of our ass?
Smashed it.
God bless us, everyone. God bless us. Feeling good now. Feeling warmed up. You feeling warmed up?
I feel good. This is strange and probably the nichest show we've ever done because every subject is going to alienate someone, right? So...
It's great watching. Like I'm watching the view counter, and it'll be like I'll be doing the topping and be like, boom, there goes 10 people. Oh, there comes 10 more. So it's just like, yeah, everyone's having a good time. Everyone's enjoying themselves. Everyone's got opinions, Jesse. Everyone's got opinions. We're not the only people in the world.
And everyone's wrong except us.
Yeah, exactly. That's what this whole Got Till 5 experience has been about. Right. It's time to pick another top 5 topic. We're going to see how many we can get done in an hour and then see how we feel.
Okay.
Next. Hey. Oh, what is it? My favorite what? Oh,
books. From skateboarders to Canadians to books. And you, has Ewan McGregor written any books?
He probably has, actually.
You know what? There are book like diaries that are published from him and Charlie Borman from the Long Way Round series. So that's worth knowing. But I haven't actually read them, so I can't put it on this list, sadly.
Okay, everyone. I know everyone's kind of like fucking rolling their eyes in the comments about books, but try and be cultured a little bit. Come on, we'll do this one the fastest if you're that upset about it. See, nerds. Okay.
Well, I don't know. I don't have that many books that I like, to be honest.
All right. Quick fire. There's a great series called the Babel series or the Babel series, however you pronounce it. And the first book is called Senlin Ascends, and it's by a guy named Josiah Bancroft. And it's like a fantasy trilogy. And the 4th book is coming out this year. And I'm not a massive fantasy person normally. Like I am, but like I can't be bothering with like people with 600 names and they're all like in different clans. And I've got to refer to the map at the beginning of the book to know where everyone lives. Fuck off. I just need simplicity. But what they do in Senlin Ascends is it's about a man who goes on honeymoon with his wife to this tower called the Tower of Babel, where there's different layers going up of like different wealth and fortune that you can go on holiday to. It's huge. It's massive. They stop at the market to do some shopping. She goes missing, gets taken or whatever. And then it's up to him, who's this normal kind of school teacher type of bloke, to go and find his new wife. And there's lots of kind of twists and turns on the way, and just the way that Josiah Bancroft writes his descriptions makes you feel like you are in the worlds that he's describing. And each ring is massive and huge and amazing. It's like all 3 books, and there's so many different elements to it with like the Hods and the diplomats and the people controlling it. Like, just honestly, if you're going to pick up a book series this year, I would 100% recommend starting with Senlin Ascends and just see how you feel.
Very good. Nice shout. I'm going to bring it back to wrestling, because I've read a lot of wrestling books in my time. And I'm going to say Have a Nice Day by Mick Foley, which was his first autobiography. It was the first wrestling autobiography that really became a massive deal. And it's because he's a damn good writer. He's very witty with his writing. He puts you in the world very nicely. I'm more of a fan of factual books, generally speaking. I think I read a lot of autobiographies more than novels and that, because I can't, like, sometimes I can't suspend my disbelief because I'm reading it and go, oh, so-and-so walked down the hall. I'm like, no, he didn't. You just made that up. So, like, it annoys me. So, but like with the Mick Foley stuff, it's written well. It's really accessible to non-wrestling fans as well. That's why it did so well, because it just gave everyone an insight into what it's actually like to be a professional wrestler. And he did it in this nice introductory way. It's just a really easy read. It's really entertaining. And he's written plenty of books since, and they're all good.
Can't argue with it. Steve's trying to plug his sponsor, Boss Fight Books. Order today for great books on classic video games, everyone. There we go. doing your job for you. Fucking hell, what am I going to pick next? I'm going to go for a short book, but like this is a book that it's not even a book. It's like 30 pages, but it's a book that I kind of hold close to me and kind of influences a lot of my character and how I handle myself. It's How Much Land Does a Man Need?
It's the Bible.
Sit down and listen. It's Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. No, it's How Much Land Does a Man Need by Leo Tolstoy, and it's about a book of a very short story of a man who says, if I walk this far and put this planter and do all of this, how much money will you give me? And then he says, well, what if I keep going further and further? And the guy's like, however much land you plot will be yours, and you can do whatever you want with it. It'll be yours forever. So the guy starts walking and he gets to a mark and he's like, this will probably be good enough. And then he sees the sun in the sky and he goes like, actually, I could probably go a little bit further and a little bit further. And he keeps pushing and pushing that boundary of where his land is. And then in the end, no one's going to read it, so I can tell you what happens. In the end, he eventually keeps going until the sun kind of comes down, and then his family back at home, the prince or whoever it was that kind of offered it to him, said he just never came back because he just got too greedy going for that land of like pushing further and further how far he could take his boundary and how big he can make his land. And in the end, he didn't get any land because he went missing and died. So it's a great book to kind of teach you those lessons of greed can destroy man, and knowing what you want in life and having set targets for it. So yeah, that's a favorite book of mine.
Well, that's lovely.
Thank you. I'm taking this very seriously, Jesse.
I can tell. My next choice, I don't know if it's a slightly cringe choice. People seem to have a weird reaction to this book. It's On the Road by Jack Kerouac. Now, if you haven't read it, anyone listening, don't bother because you're too late. You have to read it when you're like 15 years old or 14 years old. That is the perfect time and the only time you should read this book, because it just opens your 14-year-old mind to this whole world of like debauchery and being free and being on the road, and just like it's about it's Jack Kerouac's character. It's loosely autobiographical, but it is a novel. Him and his mate just go down Route 66, and it's just all the adventures they have traveling down Route 66. And it's just debauchery, it's drugs, it's sex, it's just everything that you just desperately want as a 14, 15-year-old boy, but feels like a world away, especially if you're growing up in a tiny little town. And it's just escapism and feels cool. You try and read it as an adult, and it's a bit sort of, feels a bit cringy, and it's like a bit try hard, I think. But yeah, when it captures you when you're a teenager, there's nothing better. It's so cool, and it just opened my mind when I was a kid. So if you've missed the boat on it, wait until you have a 14, 15-year-old child and then just give them that book.
And then watch them run away and do a shit ton of
drugs. Coke out of hookers' assholes.
It's true. A lot of that kind of beat generate, like when you talk about Allen Ginsberg, Jack Kerouac, William S. Burroughs, like that proper drug-addled, debauchery, terrible people influenced a lot of my early reading days. And I'm thankful for it. Absolutely. Very much so. My final pick would be, for those who remember our Desert Island Discs episode, this would be the book that I took with me to the desert island, the Bible. It is House of Leaves.
They give you the Bible anyway in Desert Island.
They give you the Bible. It's a freebie.
It's a freebie.
And Shakespeare. Yeah. Freebies.
There you go.
And you wouldn't
think how long you could keep a fire going with those books.
I think that's what I said, and everyone got really upset when I said it. It's like, come on, guys. But House of Leaves, it's by Mark S. Danielewski, and it's big, and the pages are odd-shaped, and it's just weird. It's about a house that kind of changes dimensions and has all of these different elements to it, and the way the book is written is just confusing, and you have to read it like 6 times for you to kind of just about go, okay, I kind of understand what's going on. And it just has this element that kind of just draws you in, and you're just curious about the house and the history and the people that are inhabiting it. I did a much better description when I had it on Desert Island Discs. I had a description written, so I know what I was talking about. Nice. But if you do need kind of that summer book of where you just want to kind of get lost in it and you're just going to be reading for a while, then House of Leaves is just number one choice. And I will read that book on my deathbed, Jesse. That's That's my promise to you.
Very
to
nice.
you.
To me, and I treasure that promise, and I will force it, and I'll just plop the book on your face while you're
My
lying.
cancerous-ridden body. Just,
So my this isn't my number one pick, it's my final pick. I've done them out of order because this certainly isn't a better piece of work than On the Road by Jack Kerouac or even Mick Foley's books, to be honest. But it's something that really interested me when I read it. It's called The Secret Footballer. So this is a he's now retired, but it's a Premier League footballer who writes articles in The Guardian all about being a footballer, but he's completely anonymous. No one knows who he is. No one knows which Premier League footballer he is. And he's written a couple of books, but his first one was just called I Am the Secret Footballer. And just these amazing stories of what it's like to be a Premier League footballer and some fairly debauched stuff that goes on behind the scenes with that. And I just love that as a football fan, I have seen him and know who he is, but I don't. Do you know what I mean? I've no idea. No one knows who the secret footballer is, and he's kept it secret. He is, like I think I said, he is retired now because this has been going on a while. But for like 15 years, the secret footballer has been a thing, writing these articles and writing these books all about it. And I just love the anonymity that he's managed to keep up. I think it's amazing.
That is very cool. I've never even heard of it, but like that's the kind of thing, like not a football fan personally, but I love hearing behind the scenes stuff into different areas.
Yeah, and because he's so, and he just throws these little clues out, and some of them are clearly red herrings, because if you add them all up, none of them make sense. Like he mentions that one season he was relegated with a team, but in that summer he was bought by another Premier League team, so never actually played in the division below. So that narrows down who it could be, right? And like he's mentioned that he has 2 daughters, like that narrows it down. But when you put them all together, it doesn't work. There's no footballer that has all these things. So he has thrown red herrings in there. But it's really cool to sort of, there's like massive forums and websites of people working really hard trying to work out who the secret footballer is. And I love all that shit. It's just really fun.
For what purpose? It was like when the Stig got revealed on Top Gear and everyone just went, oh.
Yeah, but no, that's different though, because it could be David Beckham. Do you know what I mean? Like it could be like a huge name in football. Like you just don't know. I just love the mystery behind it. The guy's a good writer, which is quite rare in footballers, I think. I love football, but they're not like the smartest chaps in the world. And I just think it's cool. It's well written. The stories are fun, and the mystery element makes it exciting.
Love it. Love that, Jesse. Just did books. Fucking.
There you go.
Wow.
Woo! Squares over here. Hello.
Bobby's just gonna. She's never watched Got Till 5. She'll just watch that one bit, and that'll be it. that'll be a future. All right, let's keep this party going, guys. Let's see what else we can find. Thank you, everyone who is like. We were joking around that people have been like dropping in and out, which is kind of true. But we've kept a consistent number, so thank you everyone for sticking around and watching these random ass top 5s that we're throwing out at you.
This is a weird one. I'm enjoying it though. It's fun. We don't normally use brain power on these things.
No. Normally we speak like 3 hours before, like this will be easy. Let's give this a go. This is actually challenging.
Yeah.
Next.
I can't see the wheel.
Oh god, I didn't put the thing up. Quickly.
There it is.
God, I don't know the fucking weird ones. All right, this was picked by a Twitter user. I can't remember your name.
Kids.
Don't deserve to have your name remembered for this one. Fucking hell. Okay.
Top 5 superpowers we wish we had. We sort of talked about. I feel like we talked about this briefly before, didn't we? Talk about this.
Not to my recollection.
We talked about the X-Men, and then we talked about our favorite X-Men, and that sort of for that, I think. So talking about that, my first one, I'll go first this time, would absolutely be teleportation. I would love to just be able to disappear and appear wherever I want at will. I think that it would just be incredibly handy. You could get out of any awkward situation. You would obviously turn to a life of crime immediately. But that's fine. You know, you don't have to work anymore. You can so easily get away with stealing money and just live your life from there. That's how I would choose to live. I'd love it.
I think that's strong. For this can be a very quick one. It's like those little icebreakers you do when you meet someone. I actually went for dinner with a friend, and there was So there was a mutual friend, and then this stranger that I didn't know, and then stranger danger, and then the friend who we both knew went to the bathroom, and I was just stuck with this guy, and I'm pretty good at making like small talk. Like you don't have to do like we're on a date kind of thing. First thing out of his mouth, friend stands up, walks away, and I go to him, and then he just goes, "So if you could have a superpower, what superpower would you have?" And I was just like, "Fuck you now! I was gonna ask what you did for a living."
No, his is way better. What you do for a living is a boring question. I like his question. Like going right in there. That's awesome.
It was the eye contact that was off putting. What would your superpower be? Because I can make it happen. I can put radioactive stuff on you.
I am Professor X.
For me, I'd go shape shifting first of all. I'd have the power to shape shift
into other humans or literally anything.
Literally anything, Jesse. Like I could just become you right now. Hello, I'm Jesse. And then
I'm not Pie Face.
I could become this bottle of wine. Just straight away.
Why? Why would you want to?
Just because, like,
what would you do with this power?
Be a bottle of wine. Just have people touch me. Just feel touched, Jesse. No,
I'm going to be a dildo today.
Oh no, Jeremy, no.
Wrong bedroom.
But I feel like it would just be so good to kind of you could impersonate people, you could go wherever you wanted. Like I could be like the prime minister or the president of countries, and I could go to all these places. I could eavesdrop on conversations. I could be used as a tool or an item. I could be a car if I wanted to. I could be a plane. I could do anything, Jesse. The options are limitless for shapeshifting.
But I don't understand why. Like my teleporting is useful. Like anything that you could achieve with shapeshifting, I could achieve with teleporting, and it's less weird.
The weirdness is what makes it fun. Because what I want is just this option, Jesse. Like we're starting at 5, so this isn't my best pick. This is just, it would be cool to have. I'd find some mischief to get into if I had one. Like I'd be a famous musician's guitar, and I'd swap myself in, and then halfway through I'd transform back into myself. And imagine his confusion, Jesse, when he's just like playing me like a fiddle. What? Oh no. Be great.
He'd be baffled, he would. But like, you'd get caught though. I feel like an important thing about superpowers, people always say like, "Oh, I wish I could fly" and shit like that. But it's like, but people would see you straight away, and you'd be locked up, and they would do tests on you straight away. You want powers that you can keep under wraps. Do you know what I mean?
Not if I turn into a guard and slipped out with them. Come on, Jesse. Powers 101.
They're not gonna find me in this garden because I'm a rake.
Step on it. Simpsons reference, folks.
Simpsons.
Yeah, go.
That's very good. I would like Professor X's power of. I would like to continue to be able to walk, but I want to be able to just control people with my mind. I want to be able to make people do or say whatever I want. Yeah. Imagine how easy the world would be if everyone just bowed to your will, just did whatever, and they thought they were doing it of their own free will, but they weren't. That would be amazing.
I love that all of yours are evil. Like none of these are being used for good. Imagine if you could bend the will of the human race to your whim. Like, come on, man.
Tell me you wouldn't want it.
I wouldn't know what to do. Like, I'd feel too much pressure. There's always that thing of like,
yeah, you can leave things as they are. You can be minimalist with it. What was I doing? Well, you can sort of leave things as they are.
Thank you, Steve. It's being called you want to be a cult leader. That's what you want. You want to be a cult leader.
Name me a cult leader that didn't have a good time. They all had a good time. Right. It's the followers that suck. It's that you want to be the leader. But like, I would leave everything as it was. Like everyone could just carry on as they were, just until they get in my way. Do you know what I mean? And then I can just sort them out and just make sure, like if I'm in a pub, like yes, like oh, don't worry about paying for that drink. Thank you very much. Just little things like that. Do you know what I mean?
Just be an evil Jedi.
Yeah, there's a word for that, I think.
Hey, he out Star Wars me. Fair. Okay, I'm excited to find out what your number one evil deed is going to be.
I don't know. I haven't got that far yet.
We'll get there. I know it's cliche, but I love the idea of invisibility, and not for like the pervy things that you and Steve would do with it. I just want to be left alone. just genuinely want peace and quiet, because like it's so difficult to get genuine peace and quiet. But like,
you could do that with teleporting.
Yeah, but then you're just teleporting off to like some remote island somewhere, and it's it's great, and you and a snake that's poisonous. But like,
no, I wouldn't do that. What's the wrong with you? I'd wait until the royals were on a royal visit somewhere, and then I'd go to the Buckingham Palace. Obviously.
How would you know the royal schedule?
What are you on about? They have like press shots. It's like, oh yeah, so the Queen's like unveiling a new. She's a bit old for it now, but like. Someone is unveiling something or other today. It's, that means they're not home. I'm going to go chill out in their living room.
So you think the royals are like every other family? You think the royals are like every other family where they're just kind of like, they lock up and then they head off. There's like, no one else stays there. There's no other staff or anything there.
No. Okay. We'll wait until like, Tom Cruise is on location filming Mission Impossible 12. Means his house is empty. Let's go chill out at Tom's gaff.
You don't know where Tom Cruise lives.
I can find out. I'll read his mind with my other power. And then I'll know. He'll show me. He'll show me around because I've made him.
Yeah, why do you need invisibility? You can just get people to let you live in their house. For me, I just want to sit on my sofa and people not know I'm here. It's a simple power, Jesse. I want to walk down the street and just walk into places. And then
someone sits on the sofa and sits on you and they don't realize me. Like, oh no, I better use my other power. And then you just turn into a dildo.
Why is this always the shape I immediately pick?
Why is this my panic shape?
Yeah, gold. Yeah, Steve's with me, invisibility. Thank you, my friend. Join me on the dildo couch. Yeah. Be one and the same. His will be like Canadian flag decorated. It'd be beautiful.
Red and white dildo. A little
maple leaf on the top of the head.
Yeah, we went the same place.
We've been doing the show too long, folks.
Yeah. Oh man, I don't know what my last one would be. I'd be happy with those two, but I mean, if I have to pick something else, like. I don't know. I feel like super strength would be quite fun.
Yeah.
Just to you could just bust it out at the most mad times to impress people, right?
Yeah, exactly. You could
pick up a car,
win all the arm wrestling competitions. You could get a pretty good side hustle. Yeah, you could do enter. Imagine you, as you are now, entering. You're a disgrace. Entering the world's strongest man competition.
Yeah,
all
right.
Of these hunking behemoths. Then Jesse just rocks up in his little 150-pound. Hi, boys. Carrying his transporting dildo friend with him, and
on my shoulder like a parrot.
I want to write this comic so badly.
I'm Jesse. This is Dildo Parrot.
How does Dildo Dildo Parrot got stuck that way, and the only way Dildo Parrot can get out of it is in certain situations. I'm trying to think what situations causes him to come to your rescue. You have to be in immediate danger.
Yeah, definitely. So if the strength suddenly goes and then, I said about picking up cars, but I watched a strongman competition the other day, and it's like a poem. So there's they instead of like the conventional stuff that you would think people need to lift that's heavy, you think, why don't you lift a weight, brother? That's pretty heavy. And they're like, no, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lift a barbell with a fish tank on two fish tanks on either side, and the fish tanks are full of cheese. That was literally one of the competitions. They were just lifting barbells with fish tanks of cheese. That's definitely a poem. That's
it is now.
That's a Charles Bukowski novel. I was watching it was art that I was watching. It was mental.
It was a poetry emotion.
It was.
But imagine you just picking up those little cheese barrels of fish with your little arms. And then with your pinky eyes.
Yeah, just word. Yeah, exactly. This is what I was going back to earlier. I like it when people who don't look like they should do something well, do it really well, like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Or Lewis Capaldi is an example in pop music. He's a pop singer. He's a really good pop singer, and he's a really funny, down-to-earth, cool bloke. Faced like a potato. But but he's a massive pop star, even though he looks like he shouldn't be. On pure charisma and talent. I love it.
God bless you, Lewis Capaldi. And I want this DC Marvel the GT5 comic book series of people who are shit and ugly looking and skinny, and they just have powers.
We should
be great.
Yeah, this is good. This is a comic book waiting to happen.
Yeah. Next project. It's on the way.
Yeah. Dildo Parrot. Volume 1.
Alternative covers. Changes. For me, I feel like people always underestimate the power of time travel as a superpower.
It doesn't work though. Like as soon as you start thinking about it too much, it just hurts your head.
We don't think about it. It's just a blanket superpower. Like whatever you do has no consequences. Like you can bang Anne Boleyn and nothing happens. Like
well, you have to get into dimensions, don't you? So like
multiverse effects.
Yeah. So if you go back, there's a different dimension where like everyone's got a massive toenail on their forehead or something like that. Like which I'd be into, by the way. Because that would be quite protective.
This is all I would do. I'd go to these multiverses, and this is what would happen. I'd like boop, 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 boop. Giant toenail head people. I go,
yeah,
cool.
There it is.
And we're back.
Off I go. Yeah, but it hurts my head thinking about time travel. That's why I don't want to do it. I'm not organized enough to do it responsibly, and I would ruin everything.
Oh yeah. Oh, all of those shows that you watch where they step on something or they change something, they come back and they're like, "Fuck, this is worse than before." Absolutely.
In Harry Potter, they gave the responsibility to like 14-year-olds in the Prisoner of Azkaban. Hermione
has a time traveling necklace.
That's bonkers. That's the biggest plot hole in the whole of Harry Potter. The fact that, okay, we now know that exists. So why not just go back and write everything? Let's go back and stop Voldemort killing Harry's parents, right? Let's just go and kill Voldemort when he was a baby. By the way, what was wrong with Voldemort? The whole premise of Harry Potter is that he tried to kill Harry Potter as a baby and it went tits up, right? He tried to use a killing spell to kill a baby. Just drop it out the window, son. Babies are quite fragile. Like, why did you have to use like crazy magic to try and kill this baby?
Give it a poke.
Just drop kick it out the window. That's how you kill babies, apparently.
From experience.
Stupid. Voldemort's an idiot.
Voldemort is an idiot. And then, like, he gets his army back and he gets all his power back. What does he do? Goes and invades a school of high school children. So, no. Build a bigger army and take over the world.
And it all comes from the fact that he wanted a job there and didn't get one. When he was like 20, he's just butthurt.
Jilted employee. Like, he could have explored different avenues. He could have gone to a job center skills match and find out what he was good at.
Yeah. No. But yeah, the fact that they didn't use that time turner to just go back, and I know it would have taken a while because you have to like turn it for every hour, right? So it's like, okay, just give me a few days. I'm going back a good 50 years here, but you'll get there, and the rewards are obvious.
Yeah, come on, JK, you transit-phobic idiot.
Yeah,
jerk. Cool. All right, so we just did superheroes quite successfully.
I think we nailed that one.
I think we did as well. We could have made a whole episode on that. Yeah. Okay, let's see. I want a good one. There's a lot of good ones in this list. I think we should just do all 28. Keep everyone here for like 4 hours while we go through all of them. Look how great we are. Okay, let's see what we got for this one, people. It's exhausting, isn't it?
Yeah, it makes me a bit dizzy watching this.
Oh, so close.
Oh, Ewan! No, it lost.
Oh, this is fucking dumb.
Top 5 worst serial killers.
Fucking hell.
Amazing. Right, so are we finishing on this one?
No, we're definitely not, Jesse. We're definitely not finishing on this one. All right, you got very excited when this came up. So while I do the graphics,
I know my serial killers.
Worst, Jesse. Worst.
Oh right, okay. I'm gonna start with a fairly popular one or a fairly well-known one. I'm gonna go with Ted Bundy. So Ted Bundy was he was a real bad serial killer because. I know it's like cliche to go, oh, no one suspected a thing. But like Ted Bundy was that and then some because he was like, to everyone who knew him, he was a really charismatic, nice bloke. He was part of the Young Republican Party. He was sort of a bit of a shagger and really like nice to the ladies. And then just had this horrible, depraved side where he would murder women and kept them in the forest in this nice little secret area he had. And just kept them all there and sort of messed about with the bodies as they decomposed. He was a fan of long, dark hair. All of his victims had long, dark hair because of it. All came from his first girlfriend who had long, dark hair. She stitched him up right nice. And he was just seeking revenge ever since then. That's all he was doing. But he represented himself in court, right? Like, smart bloke. Just, it goes to show that, like, intelligence and morality have nothing to do with each other. Because this guy, it was a pretty intelligent dude, but obviously depraved and immoral and fucking horrible and an absolute loser who kills women. Do you know what I mean? And he represented himself in court. And when he was found guilty, have you seen this? The judge said to him, "It's a real shame because you're a very bright, nice young man, and I would have loved to have seen you as a lawyer, like working with me." It's like, who says that to, like, this is like one of the worst serial killers the world has ever seen, and the judge says that to him? Yeah. Like, what a fucking... So he even though the judge, like, found him guilty, well, the jurors found him guilty, really. The judge just bangs the gavel. But, like, he pretty much had the judge wrapped around his little finger, and you could tell from the way the judge had said that. And not only that, Ted Bundy successfully escaped from prison. When he was caught, he jumped out of a window and then went on, like, a manic mode and just killed a bunch of people before he was caught again. Just crazy shit, like, completely. I mean, DNA has ruined serial killers, right? You don't get serial killers like you used to nowadays because DNA is so fucking good that they can just get people before they have a chance to really go mental and kill loads of people. Yeah, like the 60s and 70s, people could have like a 6-year spree of just doing whatever the hell they wanted, and everyone's like, I don't know what's going on. Yeah. But that's my first pick, just because of how prolific he was and scary how he remained a nice guy to so many people. Like, do you know what I mean? He was one of those that got
it's
love
so
letters.
Weird seeing Bundy, because like you look at him and you hear him talk, and like your head just doesn't compute that he did all of these horrible things because he's a
nice guy.
Yeah, and it's like, fucking, I don't know, he's the worst. He is just horrendous.
Have you seen my Bundy t-shirt?
I was about to talk about your Bundy t-shirt. You have a printed Bundy t-shirt, not from the execution day, but they had Burn Bundy Burn.
Burn Bundy Burn, with this caricature of Bundy in an electric chair on it. And yeah, they were selling, on the day that he was executed in the electric chair, they were selling them outside. Like, any chance to make a buck, right? I love it.
God bless America.
Yeah, they were selling these t-shirts outside where everyone was crowded round and cheering when Bundy was executed. And yeah, I've got a replica of that t-shirt. I don't think it's poor taste. I think it's quite cool to wear a t-shirt like that.
Yeah, you're celebrating his death.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's fine.
I'm going to go with Donald Henry Gaskins, who was...
Pee-wee!
Thank you. Literally. Jesse knows everything.
I love Pee-wee. I don't love him.
No, he was known as the Hitchhiker Killer. He was the one that kind of started off the... You don't hitchhike anymore because you're going to get murdered. I think he ended up killing between 80 to 90 people. That is...
Was it that many?
Yeah.
That's
mental. There was a lot of people that he ended up he tortured them, he mutilated them, and he used to do it through hitchhiking. Like in the late 60s.
He was like 5'2" as well.
Yeah, he was a tiny, like, little unassuming dude. And then, like, the late 60s, when it was all like peace and free love and this kind of stuff, and everyone was hitchhiking all over the place, it was like a smorgasbord for him. He was having a great time. And he just capitalized on that. And then this is where we get the reputation of, like, hitchhiking is dangerous from this man. And he's so dangerous that so he was sentenced to death, and then it went to like life imprisonment, but then I think it went back to death again. But he is the only person to commit murder on death row. He killed another person while he was on death row. Like, just stop killing people, man.
Yeah,
let it go. But yeah,
you know the best thing about Pee-wee is he has a official autobiography that he wrote when he was in prison. Wow. It's called The Final Truth, and it's fully penned by him, like grammar mistakes and all is all in there, and it is just the craziest read in the world. It's awesome. It's just, he's so deluded, like so self-important and deluded, and the way he describes what he did, it's a really fascinating read. I love it.
Everyone's getting a good picture for what Jesse ends up reading for these stories. So yeah, I've got to go with Pee-wee for my pick. Next.
Nice. I'm gonna put a local flavour in here with Fred and Rose West. I think we can put them together as a unit because they very much were a double act, you know. Not like Ant and Dec, but like they they worked well together. Let's just say that. Although Fred had killed a couple of people before he actually met Rose West. So like, what a match made in heaven, by the way. How do you like broach the subject with your wife that you like killing people, and they're just fully on board? Like, that's what a lovely partnership, right?
I struggled to get partners to watch wrestling.
Exactly. Yeah, and they just found each other. It was brilliant. So I live in Cheltenham. For anyone who doesn't know, Gloucester is like 10 minutes away, and that's where Fred and Rose West lived and did all their stuff. So they killed a lot of people, including their own children and a lot of their own family members. And have you seen the news recently? They've found the remains of a girl.
Well, they're searching. They're not sure yet.
Yeah, they think they might have found something. Yeah, the remains of a girl who was killed in the 60s by, they suspect, Fred West, which is pretty cool / horrible. But it's so that's sort of exciting at the moment, sort of a bit of local news. But yeah, Fred and Rose West, very evil, British. It's pretty mad that it happened so close to where we grew up.
Yeah.
And yeah, my stepdad was a copper in his day and met them. Fred West was actually a police informant. Did you know that? As well, like he was because he was like sort of, he was always a bit of a, obviously the police didn't know he was a serial killer, but he was always a bit of a sort of, you know, like rough, sort of always in trouble for this or that. But yeah, he was a police informant, so he would actually tattle on a bunch of other criminals in the area. So the police all knew him quite well.
Yeah, very, very strange, and the house where all of this kind of stuff took place as it was kind of like a landmark for a while, but now it's been bulldozed and it's a public path and stuff.
Yeah,
Cromwell Road, exactly. And yeah, like the local news of finding some remains under this cafe, because weirdly enough, it was people who were filming a documentary about the West murders.
It's weird, isn't it?
At that cafe, and then I don't know how, but like I'm sure we'll find out as the story develops. But then they kind of found something underneath, and they're having to do some kind of forensic testing on it. So,
well, the girl, so the girl they found worked at that cafe, right? And it was so she's obviously been missing since the 60s, and it's been widely believed, without it being proved, that she was killed by Fred West because he was a frequenter of that cafe and sort of had a rapport with her, and it made sense. But they had no proper proof of it. So I guess they were there for that reason, right? They were sort of say, oh, Fred West came to this cafe and a girl went missing. That's why we're filming here. And they stumbled across something under the cafe.
Yeah.
It's mental.
Yeah, I was doing some reading, not to keep it all about the West, but like after this story broke, I went back and did more reading because like I was like reading about it. And then I was reading about Rose West because obviously Fred West, he killed himself just before the trial happened, like immediately got arrested and took himself out. But like Rose is still alive and still in prison, and she ended up like becoming friends and even forming a relationship with the woman who did the Moors murders, because they were in the same prison together, right? And they were like the queens of this prison because of what they did, because they murdered young people together. They became like, and then they became enemies within this prison, and it's just like, Jesus Christ, like why would you put two of those people in the same prison? Like we have a lot of prisons, guys, come on. Next for me, I'm gonna go Zodiac Killer. I think Zodiac Killer he's the Tony Hawk of serial killers. He's the face of them. Nice, where you kind of recognize and everyone knows who the Zodiac Killer is. Well, we don't know who the Zodiac Killer is, but he again operated between the late 60s and 70s. Like fucking hell, America. Like I would have been terrified to leave my house with like your Mansons, your Zodiac Killers, your Pee-wees and stuff running around the place, Bundy, like all within that time frame of just horror that was kind of happening. Yeah, like nasty stuff.
America's quite a big place.
It is, but like Jesus Christ, there was too many a set portion of time that was going on. So the Zodiac Killer, he used to write letters in codes and stuff, and he'd write stuff to the police department, to the newspaper. He's probably the most open and outgoing. I'm not going to call him like an outgoing kind of sociable person, but he kind of was in a weird way, where he'd want to kind of tell his story and talk to the press, which is something that had never been done before, because that was just like guaranteed being caught, because you're going to leave fingerprints, you're going to leave this. But still to this day, even with all of our modern DNA stuff and code breaking and everything we've advanced, no one knows who the Zodiac Killer is. He is claimed to have killed like 37 victims. The newspaper that he was writing to at the time can only confirm 7 in total, which is still a horrendous number. But it's just unbelievable that this is still a mystery. We've recently had one of the biggest ones solved of the Golden State Killer, which was amazing when that broke. Like, that was just mind-blowing to kind of get into and
awesome.
read. And I'd love the same to happen to the Zodiac Killer. But the dude is super careful. He was careful with his letters. He was careful with his penmanship, how he stabbed victims, and he left nothing for them to kind of be able to do stuff with. He is just the next step above in terms of, like, it's almost supernatural what he did. The fact that he could kind of disappear into thin air and do all of this kind of stuff. There's some great documentaries, but there's also a great movie as well with, like, I think it's Mark Ruffalo and Jake Gyllenhaal. They did a really good job. I think it's a Fincher movie, if I remember correctly. Did a great job of, like, showing the Zodiac at the time and what the papers had to deal with. Because, like, imagine the hysteria of the serial killer is taunting the police and taunting the press with letters, which of course the newspapers published, and just like mocking and saying, like, you can't catch me, you're never going to catch me, and then just disappearing. Like, maybe he died, maybe he stopped. Like, I just don't feel like serial killers stop. Like, that's what I don't understand about the Golden State Killer. Just stopped one day.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Just done.
You don't grow out of it. I don't feel like it's something you grow out of, like having a casual murder every now and again. So
I reckon Jack the Ripper probably died. That's my theory on him. I don't think he's just stopped and sort of got away with it. I reckon he got killed. I reckon he tried to kill someone who ended up killing him first or something.
Yeah, back in them days. So Zodiac Killer for me, I think he's just such an enigma and fascinating to read about and learn about, because there's no answer, and I hate not having an answer. Zodiac Killer for me, for sure.
Nice. Well, my number one on this one is maybe a bit of a hipster choice. He's not the most famous serial killer, but it's quite an exciting sort of story. Dean Call, I'm going with, who he's a Texan, which is important. And he did it all in a little town in Texas and never got caught, which is just amazing. So he actually got killed he had this accomplice that helped him with all of his murders. And then he tried to murder his accomplice, and the accomplice managed to murder him first. So Dean Call never actually got caught or arrested or anything. He just got killed. Yeah. And he was a gay guy in the 70s in a little town in Texas, which probably wasn't the easiest. It was a proper redneck little town. So he would basically entice boys. He only killed boys. He would entice them to his house, and have with parties and stuff. And then he made this special board that he would strap them to, and basically drug them and then torture them and bite their willies off and stuff like that, and just torture them to death. And none of this sort of town none of these kids were ever reported missing by their families. It was just the sort of redneck town where a kid would disappear and they'd be like, oh, he's just drifted off to start living his own life. That's just the sort of town it was. So he got away with it for years, 10 years. He was just consistently killing sort of teenage boys and completely got away with it. And in the same little town, it's bonkers. And the fact that he did basically get away with it because he was killed, I just think it's awesome. It's not awesome, but you know what I mean? It's
an interesting story.
Yeah, it's
horrible.
It's just mad. If you wrote it as fiction, people would say it was too unbelievable.
Yeah, I think that's a fair way to put it. I really didn't want to talk about my number one because they genuinely just make me sick. This is horrible. But the Toolbox Murderers, Lawrence Bittaker and Roy Norris.
Oh yeah.
For me, are just the most depraved, horrible. And I don't know if it's because there's a lot more kind of evidence on them and you know what's going on, but they ended up killing 5 teenage girls in California. They used to kind of rock it with their van and kind of pull girls into it and that kind of stuff. They assaulted 20 women in total, but the 5 murders were the biggest ones that they did. And they were called the Toolbox Murderers because they'd used stuff like pliers and ice picks and sledgehammers and stuff. And this is when I was getting really into my true crime and serial killer stuff. They used to record their victims. So they record the sessions that they did with them, and then when they dumped the bodies, and they would play the tapes to the jury, and you can access the tapes online and stuff. And I listened to one. It's one of my biggest regrets in life that I listened to the tape, because it is just like nothing else can like touch me in terms of like horrible things because like I've heard that tape. It's just horrendous. There was a FBI special agent who created a criminal profile on them, and he said it was the most disturbing individual for that he'd ever kind of profiled of serial killers, because they just were just the stuff that they did. It wasn't for like, and they just prolong it for as long as possible and just make it as worse and as uncomfortable as possible. And they had no regret or anything like that for it in terms of what they were doing. So one of them, I can't remember which one now, but they were both obviously sentenced to life and stuff. But the other one kind of flipped on the other one and said, oh, it was all him, all this kind of stuff. So he just got life, and then the other one kind of got the death penalty. America being the death penalty, like these guys were active in the 60s, 80s, late 70s. I think they got in prison in the 80s. And one of them died last year on death row, and the other one the year before that. So they never actually saw capital punishment. They just kind of died on death row. But it's horrible, like probably the least count of all the people we've spoken about, just the 5 victims, but like the 5 amassed to the 70 that we've got, like just really nasty stuff. So like if you're not familiar with the toolbox murderers and you're into this kind of stuff, it is fascinating to kind of delve into and see what they did and their mindset, because around this time when the FBI were kind of profiling serial killers, there is a fantastic show, if people have never watched it, Mindhunter on Netflix. There's 2 seasons, which is just unbelievably, insanely good. David Fincher behind it, because he loves all of his crime stuff. And it's all about how them first in the 60s and 70s understanding what serial killers were, because they just thought they were just whack jobs and stuff. But then they started profiling them and realizing the patterns that we know of, like childhood abuse and the torturing of animals, and the patterns that you see that we know from now comes from this research. So for anyone who wants like a really good watch, watch the Mindhunter series on Netflix. It's so good.
Nice.
Done.
Right, one more.
Unless it's shit. People are still, honestly, everyone, thank you for sticking with this. Like, unbelievable. I was expecting numbers to be dropping left, right, and center.
It's the most mental idea for a show. This is well done, like, though. It's a nice idea.
All of you sticking here, thank you so much. Like, this is amazing to kind of see. All right, let's.
I like that. This recording is going to be around forever as well.
Yeah.
After, do you know what I mean? Like on our Spotify or iTunes or whatever. Like as an episode, we'll be able to
follow us around.
This. Yeah. Such a strange episode.
We had to do 99. Like, we couldn't just do a normal kind of episode, could we? Like, my top 5 ska bands. Like, we couldn't have done that.
Yeah,
we had to go.
I bet that's what will come up now.
Love you, sweet angels. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. All right, let's get on to next pick. We got deep into that one.
Yeah, right.
Come on.
Top 5 things
What's it going to be?
We'd buy if we were rich.
Okay.
Okay. So this is our finale.
We can ixnay stuff if you want. Do you want to spin again?
Yeah, all right. Let's spin again. As it's the last one, let's go with some here.
We're just going to keep going until we get something we like. Hope you like mariachi music.
Oh. Well, this is interesting because this could go. Isn't there only like 5 Blink-182 albums?
No, there's like 12.
Is there? Okay, fine. We can go for this because this might neatly lead into what we do in the future. Maybe, who knows? We've had discussions.
I think maybe we should break this out next week. Like next week when we do our 100th episode, if we get stuck for stuff to talk about, we'll keep the wheel going and we'll just we'll continue this because it's kind of working. Yeah. Okay.
Cool. All right, let's finish up with this. I will go first if you don't mind. And I talked about it before. I think we did top 5 punk albums of the 90s or something like that. I'm going to go with Cheshire Cat, which is their first proper album. They had an album before called Buddha, but it's very much a demo sort of album, really. Cheshire Cat was their first proper album, released in '94. It's raw. It's not the sort of poppy Blink that you come to know nowadays. It's got a cool sort of '90s youth feel to it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it just feels like, yeah, it's just teenagers playing like fun music, and not especially well, but there's like clearly some talent there. They're just, because it's like charismatic and the songs are good. And I just think it's a great album. It's the first Blink album I owned. Hated it when I first heard it because I was expecting a sort of All the Small Things style sound. But I grew very quickly to love it, and it has a very special place in my heart, that album.
Yeah, I think that's a strong thing. We both kind of have that love for Cheshire Cat. We played Carousel when we did that episode, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
And what a great opener to the album. Eminem, Benoit Balls, just love it.
Yeah, Peggy Sue is a really underrated
tune.
That's a really underrated tune.
Yeah, absolutely adore it. For me, I'm gonna go California. This was Matt Skiba's first album after Thomas DeLonge left the band.
It was much better than it had any right to be, really.
Yeah, like Neighborhoods, whatever they called it. Neighborhoods.
It was Neighborhoods. Yeah.
Neighborhoods. When Tom, Travis, and Mark got together and they released that album, it was Plus 44 and Boxcar and Angels and Airwaves playing. It wasn't Blink 182 playing. It was like all of these separate bands coming together, and you knew Tom wanted to do like his Ava stuff, and it was just like, don't get me wrong, there's a couple of great tracks on there, and it'll be one of those ones you go back and go, oh, this is really kind of cool, but like it didn't hit the mark for a Blink 182 reunion album.
No, you could tell that they were almost, because they'd fallen out so badly before, and then they got back together to make this album. You could tell they were almost scared to step on each other's toes. Do you know what I mean? It was like,
yeah,
no ideas were nixed because they didn't want to fall out. So everything that they wanted to do just got thrown in there, and it was too messy. Yeah.
So they tried to do everything as best as possible to kind of keep the peace.
Yeah. California.
California comes in. Matt Skiba replaces Tom as like singer and guitarist, controversial as anything, and then they release California. Unbelievable. Produced by the lovely John Feldman from Goldfinger, by the way.
Yeah, who's doing their next album as well. They're working on it now.
Great producer. And it just hits. It just hits so hard. Cynical comes in straight away. Bored to Death, She's Out of Her Mind. Kings of the Weekend. Like, it's modern pop punk rock that's kind of playing, but it's also old Blink as well. The line that they walk in this album is just, for me, perfection of what they kind of bring. No future. Like, there's just all of this kind of, and there's even like silly short songs like Built This Pool, which you'd expect to see on like Enema of the State, where they're making like dick jokes and this kind of thing, but it works.
It totally works. And I love that it came out the same year that Pokemon Go became massive as well.
Yeah.
So it was like, holy shit, like Blink 182 have a #1 album in the charts. Everyone's mad about Pokemon. It's like, it's 1999 again. This is amazing.
This was a great year. So Descendants released Hypercaffeine Spasmate this year. No Effects released their, what was it called? Their great album that they did that year. Like, I had
titled, was it, or Coaster?
No, it was like the one in between that. First Ditch Effort. First Ditch Effort was the one. So you had First Ditch Effort, Hypercaf, and then California. I had the best summer of my life. It was so much fun.
Chasing Pikachu's around, listening to pop punk. It was the best.
I've been chasing that high ever since, people. It just hasn't left me. But like California, as you said, it didn't have that right to be as good as it was, with like a new lineup and all this kind of stuff. But they clearly went in, and as we said, compared to Neighborhoods, everyone was firing on the same cylinder of like, this is what we want to create. Skiba was obviously like, let me just contribute as I can, and then let's just make magic happen. And they did. And it's a shame that 9 didn't really follow up to the same kind of standard. But like, for me, California, even though it's not original lineup, it's not original Blink, is without a doubt one of their best albums they've ever put out.
Definitely. Right. My next choice is Blink 182, Untitled. It's so people think of it as a self-titled album. They have confirmed it's in fact untitled. Released in 2003, the last album before the first breakup. It's just such a big sound. Like, it's the only pop punk album that I would call prog punk or prog pop punk. It's difficult to explain, but like, it's it's not. They're still using the simple 3 chords that only they could use and that all pop punk uses, but it's the song structures and the way the album's put together is just really experimental and different. And it's really cool to hear something experimental that isn't musically complicated. And I think that's actually quite difficult to make. And I think it's a mature album for them. It sounds great. Oh, Steve, you're too old for Blink-182, mate. We'll do top 5. I don't know.
Brian Adams, doesn't he?
Steve, top 5 Brian Adams albums. We'll do that next week or something. It's just a mature sound for them. I think it's an awesome album, and I had it on a lot when I was a teenager.
This was 100% going to be one of my picks. Like, the Untitled album is unbelievable. You kick off with Feeling This, and you are just like punched in the face. And then around that era when it was the emo punky phase going on, I Miss You. Like, you and me in that pub garden is one of my favorite memories ever. Just listening to I Miss You in our little headphones. Eddie Guerrero died, and we were sitting in a pub beer garden listening to that. So unbelievable album. Okay, so if I'm not doing Untitled, then I gotta go Enema of the State.
Classic. It's the Blink album, isn't it?
For me, the greatest track opening of any album in existence ever. Dumpweed, when awesome. That hits, and Dumpweed when they play it live as well. Had the pleasure of seeing Blink live. Sorry, microphone got a bit violent. Hitting the mics. So I had the pleasure of seeing Blink, and they opened with Dumpweed, and I couldn't be happier. Like, the minute because everything hits at once, and then the curtain drops, and it feels like that when you're listening to the album as well. All the small things everyone knows from it. What's My Age Again? But then you got great songs in there. Adam's song as well, exactly. But like Going Away to College, Aliens Exist, Party Song, Anthem. That's not exactly. Dysentery Gary,
Wendy Clear.
It's just
that's the whole album.
We just listened to the album. Don't leave me just to finish off the last one. Let's just do the last one. It is just the quintessential 2000s pop punk, 2000s music, I would say. Like, Enema of the State is just that American Pie, skateboarding, pop punk mesh of everything that we loved that kind of came in.
Travis Barker's first Blink album as well. So,
and it shows.
Yeah, Scott Rayner was their drummer before that, who was a perfectly good drummer, but Travis Barker is just next level, and that sort of polished sound that he brought to Blink by being such a phenomenal drummer, just amazing. What's going on? I can hear myself.
Loud noises happen.
Come back. Next level. Good choice. So my number 1, based on that for Blink, would be Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. I'll do the next one. I'm sorry, you're going to have to go for their album before Enema of the State. Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, perfect sequel to Enema of the State, perfect way to capitalize on their multi-platinum success. The big hits off of it: First Date, Rock Show, Stay Together for the Kids. Albums like that. It's basically Enema of the State Part 2, but it's just got some amazing songs on. I didn't get the pun of Take Off Your Pants and Jacket
Don't get me started.
For quite a long time, until I was like in my 20s, I think. It took me a while.
Because going back to a Loveline reference, like Mark Hoppus and the band and stuff used to appear on Loveline quite a bit. And then when they were promoting Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, this kid phoned up, and I can't remember what he said, but he was like, "What does Take Off Your Pants and Jacket mean?" And Mark said like, "Oh, you'll find out when you're older." And I heard that when I was like 20. And then for the next 8 years, I'm just like, what the fuck? I couldn't hold down a job. I was distant in relationships. Mine and Jesse's friendship suffered. And then one day I was like, take off your pants and jack it.
Oh, jacket. Like it. Yeah. Jack it off.
Genius.
Enema of the State is a pretty funny album name as well.
Yeah. Unbelievable. I got outsmarted by Blink-182.
I know, it's ridiculous. So let's bring this home, baby. Tell me about Dude Ranch.
Okay. I do just want to say Take Off Your Pants and Jacket has the most consistent kind of like track listing. Absolutely love it. Dude Ranch is very much that in between of Cheshire Cat and Enema of the State. It's got the childishness of Cheshire Cat, but it's starting to lean towards...
They're starting to write proper pop tunes, aren't they?
Yeah, you've got stuff like Josie and Damn It and Apple Shampoo, but then you've got stuff like Voyeur and Lemmings and Degenerate that are kind of in the Cheshire Cat era of stuff. So it literally is a 50-50 split of an album of like leaning one way or the other. And the success of Dude Ranch was unbelievable. I feel like Blink was very much a right place, right time with this album. It's not as great as it's heralded in terms of like quality of album. Enema of the State is so much better. And if you watch the Urethra Chronicles, they're so nervous about following up Dude Ranch because how can you? Because it was so insanely popular.
Well, it went gold, which for them at the time was like, fuck me, like this is next level.
But it was up there. It was, you know, they were playing Warped Tour. They had all of this kind of stuff going for them, and then somehow they kind of pulled out the bag with Enema when they brought that out, and
which just turned them. That was multi-platinum, turned them into like household names. It was crazy.
Exactly. Yeah, it could have gone one way or the other. Like, Blink-182 could have been any of your, like, I'm not shitting on bands like Lagwagon or Millencolin or anything like that, but like they're not held in the same revere as most pop punk bands, if you know what I mean.
No,
and this
Screeching Weasel and
Screeching
the
Weasel
are the sort of bands that I would put. That's what Blink would be if they hadn't become this huge. And there's nothing wrong with Screeching Weasel and the Queers. I love them both, but if people know those bands, they'll know what I mean at their level of popularity and the sort of shows they do. Yeah,
exactly that. So, Dude Ranch kind of hit the ground running. It's a fantastic, fantastic album. Like, Damn It is one of their greatest songs that they've ever written, without a doubt. And
Mark Hoppus had a stinking cold when he recorded the vocals for that
did he?
song, which is why when you listen to it, he sort of has this like this sort of throaty way he's singing it that he hasn't done in anything else that they've ever recorded, and that's because of his stinking cold.
He had to get one last fact in, everyone. He had to get
there you go. I'm a fact king.
Fact king. All right. Shall we open up next week's episode with a top 5 straight off the bat? And we find out what it is right now.
Yeah, okay. That'll be the start of next week's episode.
Start of the 100th episode, the final episode, everyone.
Final episode. So what will we start with next week?
We're going to see what we're opening up the final with. I hope it's good, otherwise next week's going to open with a shit. The 100th episode, the final episode of Got Till 5, will start with... Not that one. Oh! The top 5 Pixar movies.
5 Pixar movies. We could do that.
Easy.
We'll rattle that off at the start of next week, and then more shenanigans afterwards.
Exactly. Tune in. Next week, everyone, is the last ever episode of Got Till 5. That's it. It's done.
What are we going to do? What are we going to do with ourselves?
It's over. We're going to do something else. But that will be the last time that you see me just in this beautiful orange format that you will.
Exactly.
Following that will be a blue format or something or other. But yeah, 100 episodes, 3.5 years. That was our last kind of proper, pure top 5. I think, how many did we do in the end? 5, 6 different top 5s just done?
We've been going for 1 hour and nearly 43 minutes.
And you know what, everyone?
This might be the longest. Yeah,
we could
the longest we've done ever.
This in the new format. We used to do like 2 hours on wrestling because we were like, fifth ever. It'd be great. But I really hope everyone can tune in next week. We're going to be promoting the shit out of it. We're going to hopefully get some special guests on that have been like instrumental. Steven, who have kind of shown up on the show. We want to hear like your comments of like top 5s that you want to see and this kind of stuff. We want to make next week a party, basically. And we want you to join us. So mark it in your calendars right now that next Thursday, 8:30 UK time, the death of Got Till 5 happens. But we're going to go out with a bang, baby.
It's going to be good time.
Jesse's going to make out with Stone Cold.
God. Yeah. Well, on camera. I mean, it's already happened, but it'll be the first time on camera.
Exactly. I'm annoyed in that list was like top 5 Ric Flair matches. So maybe next week we'll get lucky.
Well, if Ric Flair does depart us...
You got 1 week left, Rick.
That'll be an overwrite, yeah. We have always said that... We've said this for literally over a year, I think, that it would be really poetic if Ric Flair met his demise before our last episode. So who knows? We'll see.
Who knows?
But we don't actually want him to. We love him.
No, it would just be convenient for our ratings. But so the show, just to give you a quick spoiler, the show is going to open with the top 5 Pixar movies. and then there's going to be lots of random shit in the middle, and then the show's going to end with top 5 Ric Flair matches. That's just the flow of the show, people. The flow of the show.
That's perfect.
Thank you for tuning in. We're going to be broke and poor after this podcast ends, so head on over to gottill5.tmail.com to pick up some sweet merch. I'll work on a special anniversary t-shirt that will come out next week to commemorate our sweet demise. But in the meantime, please pick up some merch and support the show. You can also follow us on Twitter at gottill5. You can subscribe to us on all major platforms. That'd be greatly appreciated as well. And if you can't remember all of this, there is a handy website which you can go to, which is
gottill5.com.
Savor it while you can, my baby.
You pointed the right way. You're a professional. I always find that really difficult.
Know what I'm doing. Thank you, everyone, for watching for that random ass episode. Like, Jesus Christ. Don't know how you stayed, but God bless you for doing it. You're absolute angels. Jesse, thank you for.
God bless us for doing it. We're the
my brain hurts
here. Yeah, me too.
A headache.
I wasn't expecting to think today.
No, big mistake. Imagine if we did this every week.
Oh God.
Oh, okay. So what the fuck? If you guys are dying? Because our loved ones need to pay for the funeral cost. You insensitive dicks. So buy some t-shirts. God damn. To explain everything to these people.
You expect us to work for a living?
Next Thursday, stay tuned to the socials. We're going to be announcing stuff. It's going to be fun. Cannot wait to see you. Bittersweet, but excited for this final hurrah of an episode. We love you. Thank you so much for tuning in for 99 episodes, and we can't wait to see you next week. My name is Max. His name is Jesse.
You fucked up. You did it.
Fucked up the pointing. My name is Max. His name is Jesse. Thank you so much for watching and listening to Got Till 5. Goodbye. Good night. Love you dearly.
Bye.